let's talk about this. I think I'm on schedule.
Now you're on schedule.
Okay. Rendezvous satellites. It sounds so romantic. This is not new, but it's new. Not new because the space station had an arm. Even the shuttle had arms. And these things have arms. But you used to have a shuttle or a space station to do it. Now, these craft, Japanese, Chinese, Russian, European Union, and American, you just need a spacecraft. And what these spacecraft are about is going to very large, expensive, $1 billion plus things like this, GPS, the space-based infrared sensor that will detect when a missile goes off, for that boost phase or terminal phase or whatever phase defense you have. Military satellite communications, and then there's some European systems as well. We can just keep going. I mean, this could go for, easily, I don't know, 10 slides, maybe some things. These things run out of fuel. Well, these things can refuel them. These things break. These things can repair them. These things get out of orbit. These things can reposition them. Sounds great. You make money. What's the problem? The problem is these things can spray paint, bend antennas. They can spray paint sensors, they can bend antenna, they can use radiation.
Push them out of orbit.
Push them out of orbit, they can take the fuel out, and guess what? No debris. What happened recently with regard to India? What did India recently do?
Blew a satellite up.
Yep, and what happened?
Junk everywhere.
Junk everywhere. People, even the Americans who love Indian food, were complaining about Indians, right? Secretary of Defense said, not happy. No debris. What else? You wouldn't know that you had been attacked, maybe. Or by whom? For quite a while. Holy cow. Now, a lot of people refer to that kind of attack as a space Pearl Harbor. Now, my image of space Pearl Harbor, it doesn't work for me, because I think of Pearl Harbor and I think of the Arizona, and a big explosion and crap flying all over the place. I refer to this as the silent apocalypse next, because this can be used to lobotomize our command and control. And you can just threaten to do this to get us to rethink about doing anything, nuclear or non-nuclear, on Earth. Pretty nifty. It's enough to make you think the Chinese are interested in this. Oh, and they are. So are the Russians. So are the Europeans. So are we. You just don't read about this so much. Although, I managed to get some articles in The Economist and other places so you can actually read about this. I got called by journalists and they want to do something, and I go, no, let's change the subject. You should do it on X. Every once in a while it works. It doesn't work routinely, though. All right. Now, our response is, well, we'll just put up lots of satellites. And that way, we'll just give them lots of things to shoot at. And so there's some really wild things. My favorite is 1,200? Or is it 12,000? SpaceX. If we're going to tolerate electronic devices, let's benefit from them. Anybody connected to the internet? The silence is no? They are. Who? Hands up. Thank you. Would you please look up Elon Musk's satellite internet?
12,000.
12,000. Thank you. It's Guys, gotta watch out for him. Okay, well, that's a lot of objects, and say, well, it'll take a long time to knock all that out. And then this is a darker program. And then, of course, you all know about the SpaceX launch reentry program. We saved the launcher, and you can turn it around 2 weeks, and you can launch quickly, and it's cheap. And then, of course, we have this thing for many years. This is an unmanned autonomous space shuttle. I suppose it could go up and pick up satellites. All right, or deliver a lot of them. So this is kind of like a passive defense. Another way to go is just to have things maneuver or shape it so that you can't find it. That's a stealthy satellite. What's interesting is Europeans, unlike us, actually publicly talk more about these things. This is a terrible photograph of a guy who just quit from the European Space Agency, and he was talking about the need for bodyguard satellites. You could use another robotic satellite and just make it cheap so that it could tackle the other satellite without damaging it, but at least engage it so it can get in between it and the thing it wants to harm. This would be kind of proportionate. You wouldn't kinetically blow it up, but you'd have these things. Now, this is a hard sell. I mean, you start talking about this in an arms control community gathering, and you go, ooh, wait a minute. On the other hand, it's so much saner than some of the other ideas that people have, which is, oh, we'll just blow stuff up, or better yet, if they do that, we'll attack their headquarters, their space headquarters in Beijing with a kinetic explosive. And so it's like, oh, yeah, definitely want to start World War III right away, over this. So, this may be a proportionate thing, but it's not an easy sell. Because a lot of people want to believe you can just do all these passive things, and that's good enough, okay? Now, but even with all the things I just mentioned, you're still in a bind. None of these systems alone can prevent major satellites from being disabled unless you have public clarity with the enemy or the adversaries about what an active war in space is and when exactly they're crossing a line where our bodyguard satellites are going to engage, if we ever get the bodyguard satellites. You have to actually go to Geneva and say, look, if you're within X number of kilometers with any satellite for this long, in so many numbers, then that's too much. If you want to transit our zone and come into our zone with one and you're not there very long, not a problem. And oh, by the way, we are going to put these rules on ourselves so that if we get too close to you and we're there in too large a number, well, shame on us. But we have not articulated that. And if you don't, none of this stuff that I put up is going to save your bacon, because those large satellites are going to be around for another decade or so. And you're going to depend on them. We just put up another big GPS system recently, I think a week ago, even less. And these are in, a glint in the eye. I mean, it could take more than a few weeks to get all this stuff